Hey y'all. Um, where to begin with this topic? Um, could really start all over the place, and knowing me as an overthinker, I could go many different routes with this, but I'll just start by saying, first and foremost, I've always hated admitting this over time, but it's like more and more time and time goes by and encounters I, you know, experience. It's like slowly, but gradually, at the same time, really quickly. Um, I just feel like it's like I'm always just denying, or I don't want to admit the truth and reality just of love. And I will focus more strictly for this specific segment on romantic love, right? True love. You know, the classic thing where, you know, boy girl meet, you know, that old classic fairy tale from all the Hollywood movies that you've seen, boy girl meet, fall in love, and everything is just good and dandy, right? That's the thing too. I will point out first and foremost is that coming from a person who has watched, spent years and years from pre-teenage years watching and really escaping in not just the film aspect, because I mean I love film regardless. It doesn't even matter what genre. If y'all know, I love horror. That's my go-to and my favorite. But regardless, I've spent years watching, rom-coms, romance drama movies, TV, like, and everything that has been portrayed, and I feel like a lot of people know this by now. I feel like people don't want to admit that, you know, that's all like, I mean, yeah, again, people know that they're movies, right? They're just movies, they're actors, putting on performances, and that's their job. So film is fiction, essentially, right? So specifically with romance films, they're all that's the paradox, is like they're all depicted as such a beautiful, idealistic, this I'm trying to explain it, but it's like, God, so much better like when I visually think about it. But it like they make it so much more, um, like more, yes, idealistic, and more like just of course, no pun intended, romanticizing it way more than it, you know, and really like masking the reality of it and other, loopholes and circumstances. Like they only focus on the good parts, the unrealistic, like, ooh, magical, like, it's all happily ever after sort of vibes, the classic old saying. So it's like that paradox of like they portray it like this, so then the irony of people as a society in our culture, God, especially in this generation, it's a whole other thing with dating apps and online, what is it called, the uh thing with goodness, I'm trying to like gather my thoughts here, but excuse me, I have to attend this really quick. Sorry. Sometimes gotta do stuff in between. Sorry, as I was saying, I didn't mean to interrupt that, but yeah, it's psychologically brainwashing people, whether, I mean, of all female races, ethnicity, nationality, any person of diversity, doesn't matter. Um, they're fed this unrealistic expectations and ideas of true love in movies, to where you expect that in real life. Like when you know, like you watch a movie, for example, like all these romantic, I mean, there's so many romance movies, like, and like one of the most popular uh, genres out there, right? Um, like it's like you're so used to watching all this, but it's like you want to escape in that, because it's like you're lying to yourself. You don't want to face the brutal reality of how it actually is with love, right? Like romantic love, at least. But at the same time, you take that expectation and all those like false um, ideations and illusions, and project that onto whoever it is, the guy you're talking to, the guy you like, or just anyone romantically, right? You know. So it's the brutal sad truth and paradox of that is just such a devastation to our culture and society when it comes to romantic love, relationships, marriages. We just have this whole idea just warped and just so backwards, and it's just I felt this way for a while too, and unfortunately, even for me, granted, as an overthinker too, to add on, you know, which makes it worse actually, um, is coming from me. Like it is it really makes you feel so much more misunderstood, lonely, and just empty, and you just don't feel. It's such a confusing feeling, but it's something that is just indescribable. And unfortunately, if you're not me, if you're I'm not you, you know, everyone has their own battles and circumstances and point of view and perspectives on all that. But it's like the things you go through sometimes, unfortunately, may shape you into your thoughts or how you perceive that certain thing in the future. So, for example, unfortunately, you know, part of my reasoning for not believing that love, true love, exists, and it's like I don't even mean to say that in a cynical way or pessimistic way, but at the same time, it's like I don't really have a choice, in my opinion, as ridiculous as it sounds. Which, once again, I am a very pessimistic, cynical individual when it comes to love like that. It's crazy. I crave love so badly, hence the years of watching and escaping into the romance movies, right? But at the same time, I know I'm lying to myself, because I'm like, you know what? The things I've personally encountered and experienced, and just everything that I've been through with that, it's like I don't know if it's just me, but it's like everything I have done, or the harder I try, it just seems to always be repelled no matter what. It just never ends well. And like my whole life has been very like just a mess in that way. I have never really for example, if you've never been modeled a healthy relationship growing up romantically, like regardless if that's marriage or other relationships, right? Um you will most likely, depending on how you handle it or perceive it, you won't you'll most likely find yourself being very just you catastrophize a lot, you will overthink, and you may become pessimistic like me. At least when it comes to believing in the positive things and being optimistic about love in this case specifically. So, and that's just the unfortunate part, right? So, another point too, the fact that I know I can go on about this forever, of course, but it's the fact, and this is why it's they portray it so well in movies, which I love how they portray it in movies. Romance is not my go-to genre, but unfortunately, it can be my escape for wanting to feel something, quote, real for once. Escaping my, love life in reality, however that may look. The harsh truth, too, is that regardless, people seem to underestimate just other people. For example, it's the, if someone betrays you, if someone abandons you, if someone just. People change all the time, not just things will, life is always evolving and moving and changing. It doesn't matter what you think or how unfair you think it is. It doesn't matter. People don't care about you. The world doesn't care about you. But that's the harsh reality of it. And this goes in hand with true love. Like, you think you want everything to work in your favor. You think this person is going to be here forever and everything. Like, realistically, it's just my personal opinion too. Like, please don't come at me, it's a controversial thing, I feel like, but so yeah, another reason why I don't find true love like this to be genuine and real and actually exist in this reality is, excuse me, people are unpredictable. No matter what you do for them, how hard you try, just whatever, how much emotional energy you give, how much, it doesn't matter. Like, you can be the perfect person, quote unquote, for them and do your best, be the most beautiful, the most intelligent, the most hardworking, the one who gives the most. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. People are going to do what they want to do. People have their own lives, battles, circumstances, their own mind. It's a whole separate external world outside of your own. Like, you just because you think they're going to stay forever, your desires will never necessarily match. Doesn't matter how much they love you or care about you. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying harshly that they will always leave you and do something to betray your trust or whatever. There are people who, everyone's different, right? This is my generic evaluation of it, just based on everything, because people are unpredictable. Doesn't matter how much you love them, doesn't matter how much they love you, in terms of romantic love. It may not be it may not be unconditional. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's like, oh, if I do this for you, you do this for me. It's there's always like that whole, there's always a catch sometimes with that. And, people's feelings change, hence why cheating, which is a whole other thing I can get into, but, for the sake of this video, I guess I'll just stop it there. But that's another thing, people you know, it's like that's the false reality too, in idealism that we are fed. You know, I feel like especially for women too, growing up, I'm not saying that women don't cheat and go down that route. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, primarily and statistically, if we look at it, it's mainly women who are more inherently emotional and rely heavily on like affection or like reassurance as a general statement. Now, I'm just saying, um, you know, it's just, God, I forgot where I was going with that, but you know, it it's just, you know, I think it just sucks. I feel like, you know, people can argue back and forth about this whole, like, you know, but oh, I guess my point was the whole false reality of thinking like, oh, you know, like, I feel like a lot of the times if you know, I heard the old classic Spider-Man saying of if you expect disappointment, then you can never really be disappointed. And I very much, you know, agree with that actually. Like, you know, it sounds harsh, but it's like, I mean, it's my own pessimistic way of thinking about it and viewing it because it's such a realistic approach. I mean, I feel like I would rather expect something to go like to not get my hopes up and be very neutral and detached from it, even if that means expecting disappointment. I'd rather go into that mindset than getting my hopes up and being so like overly excited or like really having high hopes and just being like, oh yeah, this is gonna be amazing, and then but then like at any point in time, at any moment, it can all come crumbling down and crush you. Like literally just break your heart. And I think that pain, which I've experienced before, my own personal just past and everything, it is not a great feeling. It is very, very emotionally draining, exhausting, and you feel hopeless. You feel absolute like it's just it's so the feeling is indescribable. The feeling is to the point where it pushes you so hard to over the edge to where you just can't take it anymore. So hence why I will reemphasize and reinforce my statement of I feel like no matter who it is you're with or you want to build a relationship in life with or however you romance or love is, you just need to go into a mindset of like neutral detachment, which is kind of where I'm at right now actually too, you know, like I'm not going to get into details about my current situation and everything, but at the same time I feel like I'm as if, especially being the overthinker that I am, I'm already constantly spiraling, constantly like with my pessimism too. It adds on, it's just a very bad combination, especially mixed in with someone who is much more like just not that, you know? It makes it hard for people, let alone that other person, to understand. And I don't mean that as a fault to anyone because it's no one's fault. It's not. Like, people don't know what you're going through. People don't are not in your shoes, right? So it's like you're only creating your own, I feel like, as I said before, misery, and you are spiraling, you know? People don't know what's going on with you. People are just doing them they're just living life, they're just chilling, you know? But so speaking as a third person here, as an overthinker, right? I just feel like at this point too, I will just say like I am so, it's crazy. It's such a hard thing to overcome, an obstacle and a barrier that I just like makes me feel like a burden every single day and makes me just absolutely loathe myself. Not to be harsh, but it is simply a fact. It's true. But it's like, I'm so tired, you know? I'm so tired and done just of years and years of like thinking this way and evolving into becoming a pessimistic, bitter, cynical individual because of experiences and unfortunate circumstances. It's like, sure, they happened. It's all in the past, but I guess the only thing I feel like I've got left for me is just saying I'm done and like detaching in a neutral way, as if like, because I realize the more I care, the more I cling on to something in an outcome, especially if it comes from a romantic interaction relationship. It just never goes well. It's like you can only do so much. You can only have so much thinking space and a limit, right? Like I've got limits, you know? It's like even it's crazy. It's like a separation of identity. It's like the more I want to think, um nervous system can't take it, but my mind or whatever consciousness is saying like, oh, you know, like keep thinking about it because you have to beat this to death. You have to overthink and solve the problem. It's like, well, it's just a tug of war, push and pull thing. It's just not going to go anywhere. And all it's going to do is mentally, emotionally, even physically, just drain me, exhaust me. My soul, as cliche as that sounds, just so tired, you know? I'm just so tired of worrying. I'm so tired of replaying things, overthinking everything. It's especially with true love. It's like I feel like if I view it as that, I have no chance in feeling as empty as I do and feeling as lonely as I do. Because I feel like a lot of people misunderstand overthinkers, especially. They think just like, you know, not only are you a burden, but are you like just stop doing it, you know? Like it's an easy fix. And it's just like, you know, I understand that, you know, it's a frustrating thing to be around, but it's like, you know, overall, I think it's like to the point where I feel like it's like I can't really be myself, quote unquote, if pessimism and overthinking is myself, my identity. It's almost like I have to trash and discard of all that. Um, you know, like I can't, if that is my self, I have to put on an act and performance in front of anybody and everybody, no matter how close, no matter how much you love them, especially for um, like romantic relationships, you know? So it's just such a, but it's like, that's life. It's harsh, but that's just my personal view on it. I don't know about how y'all see it, but personally, it's just to that point, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm done, you know? I don't, you know, I'm done trying to expect fairness in that regard. I'm done trying to feel hopeful and feel like loved or seek external validation. Like, it's so tiring, you know? It's like, I want it, but it's like, at what cost, you know? And I'm just like, I myself have limits. I'm like, it's like, I'm never gonna be able to solve this no matter how hard I try or how much I dig, you know? I guess really, truly, as they all say, it's not that deep, I guess. But no matter how much my consciousness wants to just dig and solve something that we'll never be able to. Yeah. God, it's so hard to find the words. I'm so sorry. I'm not making any sense, but it's just that's just where I'm at right now. I just feel like I said, in terms of love, I just feel like this is why true love to me is a sham. It does not exist. It's just literally some type of escapism, romantic and romanticizing escapism to where people can deny, or it's a form of denial where people can use that as escapism and be like, oh, you know what? This is the only time I can feel like good. I feel free. I feel like, you know, wanted, you know? And which is the root of, I feel like, humans in general. We're wired to desire, right? So, yeah, that is just my 2 cents on it. There's so much I could unpack with this, of course, but overall, I feel like it's like, you know, giving you my very personal you know, final straw on it. I feel like I'm just gonna do what I can, just be neutral and detached, as sometimes as hard as that is, because I'm a innately anxiously attached you know, person who craves love and everything, no matter how unrealistic or, you know, how much it doesn't ever work in my favor. I just feel like it's like, whatever. You know, the more I want something to happen in a sense of love, it just doesn't ever go well. And I feel like that is just going to hurt me in the end, you know? So yeah, I just, you know, I guess that's it. It's just simply like, there's nothing, you know, I keep reminding myself, even though it never happens, but I just want to let go and just be free, be free from myself, because it is just so, it's just, it's a never-ending cycle, and I'm so tired, you know. I just want that to end, and I just want, you know, it's painful, you know. Some people don't think it's anything, but I will tell you, it's painful, you know. And it's just, no matter what else, how good everything else is, you know, it's just yeah, you will never achieve your desired outcome when it, as the good old saying goes, it will never be a perfect, like, even if you find someone and you have a good relationship with someone, no matter the circumstance or whatever, it will, the false ideation of wanting it to be perfect and being like, oh, you know, if this thing is wrong, or you know, he or she didn't do or say this, you know, this, so then XYZ, you know, doing that whole hypothesis if then scenario. And it's just, yeah. That's why also questioning people's, this is just why also you just should never question people's intentions and their words, their actions. It's like, people are gonna do what they want to do, no matter how much they claim they love you, no matter how much they say they care about you or whatever. It is far from. We want that so bad as a form of validation, reassurance, to where it's like we forget ourselves and we forget who we are without that. And it's just that false ideation that also, once again, Hollywood has just brainwashed us at this point. But yeah, if y'all want to know what your thoughts are on true love or this topic, I mean, feel free to. I just had to get this out there. I feel like it's a talked about enough topic to where you can have people have a lot of opinions on it and have made so many videos on it, but it's like I feel like you know, it's just people, you know, I just feel so broken in terms of all that at this point. And I'm done. I'm done. That's just simply where it's at. I will just you know. Yeah. So, anyways, I hope you somewhat maybe understood all that shenanigans I was trying to spout out, but please feel free to comment down below, or if you have any questions on my own thoughts, feel free to comment down below and like and subscribe if you wish to. Once again, this is more of a space to kind of just, especially if you're an overthinker out there, please comment down below and, kind of like, so that way as a community we can sort of, have enlightenment and encouragement, from human to human. So thank you all. Hope you all stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.